Hello, everyone. Your favorite comm major, Jim, is here. And I just wanted to talk to you about Anchor.fm. It is super easy to set up a podcast and get it out to all those amazing podcast platforms your friends use. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading you this ad. And I'm also a member. So honestly, it's super easy, even for the comm majors. You know, we did not do enough work in college, but it's super easy to upload your episode, get it out there to all those services. So if you want to start a podcast, go to anchor.fm/start and you can, check it out right there. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast.
Hello and welcome to Comm Majors. I'm Brian Costello.
I'm Jim DeSanto.
And I'm Captain Ginger Snaps. No? Oh, and friends, we've got a special guest
one
tonight.
Goddamn job,
We've got
Aaron.
a special guest tonight. I'm so excited.
Literally the thing I asked you to do.
I was waiting to see what you would say. Sorry.
I'm a wild card. You just never know.
And
Aaron Powers.
Yay! Aaron Powers is here tonight. Oh, it's so exciting. It feels like, maybe we just stop after tonight. This is a culminating episode. Aaron Powers is here. What else can we do?
It would be a good idea because apparently Pat Morgan has scheduled himself on the program in a couple of weeks. I just want to put an end to it right now.
So why don't you tell everyone who Aaron is?
You gotta shut it down before that.
So for anybody who might be a first-time listener, welcome to Comm Majors. We are a group of friends from college who 20 years later still like each other. And, once a week we talk about films.
No.
Yes. So Jim and Brian are the communications majors. I'm just the person that keeps them funny. And our mutual best friend, is Aaron Powers. She's joining us tonight. Yay! And Best in Show. That might be like one of the first movies that we all loved collectively together whilst living together.
Okay.
Is this true?
I have no recollection of when I watched this.
I watched this all the time, and I am certain that we watched it at Seville.
We saw it together.
Yeah, we did.
Well, it came out in 2000.
I did not see this in the theater. I don't think any of us did.
No, we didn't see it in the
I don't even
theater.
know how long it was in the theater, but somebody definitely had it on VHS.
Yes, I did. I certainly did. This was on heavy rotation in Katie's
Well, we are
house.
watching Best in Show.
Best in Show.
But first, as always, we ask the most pressing question of every episode. What is everybody drinking this episode?
I'm having an Elijah Craig Old Fashioned in my Empire tumbler that Keenan gave me, so I'm feeling a little evil tonight.
I'm having whatever Jim made me while I was upstairs putting the kids to bed.
It's a Belvedere.
Should we call it a Mayflower for tonight?
The Belvedere.
Man, if we had
Mayflower.
if we had had some elderflower, we could have called it the Mayflower. Yeah. Oh well, opportunities lost.
There's a Mayflower beer, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well,
made in Massachusetts,
hindsight,
unsurprisingly.
2020.
I didn't get it, so don't worry.
Very dangerous.
I am just drinking an ice cold Miller Lite.
Classic.
That's it.
Classic
That's
Brian.
Classic.
That's
Good choice.
it's we have our expectations and you go right under them.
I have questions. Are you drinking the ice cold Miller Lite out of the plastic Harry Potter Christmas cup, or is that?
I am.
No. Why?
Wait, why don't you have the top
I was
with the
going to
straw?
ask what
That's disgusting.
Have been doing this for about 75 episodes.
No. Okay. You show the can at the beginning of the episode. I've always assumed that the plastic cup is water and that you have you pour your beer into a plastic cup? Brian, why?
That's terrible on their camera.
Why?
I don't know.
It's
as a teacher, I thought drinking in open container might not be the first thing I want to have.
Now you
on
care about what we say
Facebook.
and do as teachers on here.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Erin, what are you drinking? This is a bigger conversation than we can handle right now.
Just a glass of white wine and a water because I'm 40 now. I don't know what kind it is.
Yeah. You don't know what kind it is.
It's a white.
It was
kind.
a white kind.
Yes. I'm
It's a
sure
brown
it's
dog.
Lope
In a
wine,
very
correct?
classy glass.
Better be a one
Feels like
wine.
a Sauvignon Blanc, but I'm not sure.
All right.
I feel like you've
Not
got a
a purebred.
50-50 shot.
Not a
It's-
purebred
it's-
wine.
It's not a
It is
purebred
either
wine.
a Pinot or a Sauvignon. So I think, yes.
It's
Not
a
a
wine
purebred.
that I rescued.
Yeah.
You rescued?
Yeah, it's a rescue.
It's a rescue wine.
Oh my gosh.
I
And
rescued
so
it from my fridge. I don't know how long it's been in there.
we have Erin Powers live on the show with us here, but we also have a guest and her son with us joining from Hop Hog. Is that how you say it? Laura Merrick? Hop Hog? Hop Hog. And she is a major fan. Saw Best in Show in the theater twice.
That's a commitment.
That is impressive.
I didn't know it was
That
in
is
a
impressive.
theater to be seen twice.
Guys, I think you chose poorly. I feel like we should swap that, take a commercial break
No,
or something.
this is fine.
Bring hype on.
Hype, just keep feeding us material. You have quickly you rose to the top. You are the expert of the episode. So
Okay.
yeah, just let us know.
Let's get into this, Brian.
Just let's go to the rundown.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
rundown.
gosh,
Yes,
the daughter
I
is
did.
there too. We have 3 Merricks involved in this. All right,
Oh.
fantastic. Hi, Matilda.
Hold on 1 second. Something's going on with the rundown.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Or we could have breaking news. We could do either.
Should I just do it with my mouth?
No. Maybe.
That's
We
not
might
it.
have to go without music tonight. I don't know what's
No,
going
that
on.
is it. I feel like this is a Harlan Pepper. This is a Harlan Pepper rundown.
All right, well, just give us the rundown. Here, just give us the rundown. Here we go. Anything
Those
is better.
Fs.
Listen,
Those how
even
you do
with
those
no
Fs.
soundtrack, the soundtrack will be better than the soundtrack from A Few Good Men. So we're okay.
I need a dummy, a ventriloquist. Oh, we've got Chewy. I'm gonna have to use him. Okay, here we are. This is Fred Willard with the rundown. It's the Mayflower Dog Show, and everyone is coming to the majestic city of Philadelphia. The terrier owner with an impressive sexual history and her 2 left-footed husband. The country boy with a penchant for flies, peanuts, and bloodhounds. The yuppies with matching braces, J. Crew turtlenecks, and passive-aggressive natures. And so many more dog owners. These characters will all meet under one roof, and the artful commentary of the sassy Fred Willard and his straight guy partner. It is a satire made in doggy heaven.
All right.
All right, hold on 1 second, okay?
What's happening?
Okay. What's happening?
I just want
Do you need me to do a little bit more ventriloquism?
No, I'll just cut
Are you
this part
sure?
out. But
Because I'm
I
ready.
just- Okay, we're good. I don't know
All right,
why
there
I
we
did that, but
That's okay. We are. It is.
I have my ventriloquist dummy ready to go.
He has a ventriloquist.
Chewy is not a dog. Jesus Christ, he's a.
No, this is my
If you
this is
could,
my
can
dummy.
you tell me what Chewy
You're
is?
yelling? Why
if
are you
he's not a
yelling at
dog.
me?
Oh, the
Jim,
only
why
thing
are
that
you-
will.
why are you
The only
yelling
thing
at
that
me?
will make up this transgression is if you can tell me what he is.
I have no idea what Chewbacca is.
Really?
Yeah, no clue. What is he?
Chewbacca! What a Wookiee!
Oh, he's a Wookiee. I knew that.
That's a
Again, I'm
clerk's
just going to
drop for
remind
everybody.
you, sight gags on a podcast.
Not great.
For the friends who are listening and not watching us live, I have a Chewbacca doll that I am going to use as a ventriloquist dummy when things go wrong here. Which
Woosah,
might be
Captain.
very
Woosah.
Okay, I don't even. I'm not even sure where to go.
Hello, Jim. Hello.
Brad, you want
We
to
are
think about
never
the
making
carrier
you
or
drinks
is it too
prior to
early?
the show again. You.
This is-
By the way, I will just. All right, we're gonna break the fourth wall here. Katie came at me and Brian with a bunch of ideas about like things we should and should not do to make this better,
And I'm bringing
and
it.
then
I am bringing
brought
it.
this to the table.
It's all for the customers.
Yes, yeah, they do love this.
That's what they
love
come
the
for. This
ventriloquist.
is what they come
Brian, can you
I can't
salvage
do anything at
something
this point.
and lead this
Probably
conversation
not.
at least
probably
in a
can't.
direction that might make sense?
I thought the guest would be Christopher. Christopher Guest.
This feels really familiar.
I feel very uncomfortable. This had been at the point in like senior year of college.
Brian,
Aaron and I would have just been
you and I
like,
have been here though.
yeah,
This is,
we would just be like, should we go get ice cream? Should we
this
just
is a 20-year-old flashback
should we
right now.
just try to go do something else?
Yeah.
'Cause this is uncomfortable for the two of us right now. I'm very uncomfortable.
I love this.
I don't. All right, so let's Christopher Guest.
Christopher Guest is a good
Who
guest.
we love, of course. The Amazing Spinal Tap, which we have done on our show before, but we've also seen him in A Few Good Men. We've seen him in Princess Bride. He teams up with the always fabulous Eugene Levy to write a film that delves into the world of competitive dog shows.
Yes.
Which I have to admit, I've always found slightly creepy. Professional dog shows, and creates a fantastic mockumentary, as he often does, and produces a film that 20 years later is still relevant,
Laugh
still
out loud funny,
still, I mean, very little of it, I think, has aged poorly, which is pretty impressive, actually. I mean, I think everything that we would nitpick usually for a film that's aged is almost purposeful in why it was placed in the film. And it's wonderful. But let's talk about why it's so wonderful by looking maybe at each of the subjects of this film. And we have to start out with everyone's favorite couple, Jerry and Cookie Fleck, and their lovely dog, Winky. Of course, really, this film has gotten a resurgence due to Schitt's Creek and the fact that Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara team up, obviously, in Schitt's Creek, but also here. And I had forgotten how good they were together. I think maybe we take it for granted now because you see it, you know, if you watch Schitt's Creek, you see it, but it was so long ago and it was there, like right there.
Yeah.
Bow wow.
Bow wow. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They are
Bow
hilarious.
wow.
And I think it's really funny to look at Eugene Levy in this movie and pretty much his entire career to me is him playing sort of this like
Weird,
doofy second guy, right? He's not ever like the leading man and he's never he never has his shit together. He's never the like, and then you go to Schitt's Creek where he's Johnny Rose, where he is like a multi-millionaire business guy, and he pulls that off perfectly, and somehow he's like super handsome. And in these other movies, he looks
in real life
like,
I mean, he has aged well.
Like he looks like in these other movies, he looks like the guy. Like if a kid in your class that was his dad, you were like, oh man, I feel bad for that guy. And then Johnny Rose is totally different.
Oh, his teeth.
Well, the teeth that was prosthetic. I think.
I know.
I would.
Yeah.
No, he's method. He had that done to his teeth on purpose, just for the shoot.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
Do you think his teeth or Sean Connery's hairpiece costs more money? From Hunt for Red October last
I'm
week.
so sorry. Jim is currently digging through the trash on his desk to try to find the volume controls.
Yeah, you're good. You're good now? You good now?
Yes. I was about to lose an eardrum. Yeah. We're good now. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Perfect. So let's go down. We'll shoot through each group, and then we'll go back up to it. Second would be Sherry Ann Cabot and Christy Cummings, Stifler's mom, and the amazing Jane Lynch, who is fantastic in this. But for the life of me, I always would never have recalled her except for when Glee came on.
Oh, really?
And I feel like I know her in this movie, but I didn't know her as Jane Lynch. I mean, I don't think she was that big.
Nobody
right?
did.
I mean, she's in Fugitive. Remember, she was like a big character.
But I feel like this feels like the movie that, for me, put her on like my radar.
Might have put
not
her
for
on
me.
your radar, but this was not a big box office.
You mean like
movie or anything.
she wasn't memorable for you after you watched this?
Right. Right.
Yeah, she was for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, see, I thought her character was memorable, but I kind of put her in the vein of like some of these other people, and we could go back to talk about them. The next couple is Stefan Vanderhoof and Scott Donlan, which is Michael McKean, who we love, and John Michael Hughes, who's in a bunch of stuff. And we have Harlan Pepper, who's Christopher Guest, who I was kind of impressed on because I feel like he does well with the material he has, but I feel like he, in some ways, gave some of the juicier stuff to other people. I mean, he has some really memorable lines and delivery, but he definitely played a more subtle character in this. I mean, he's not the flashy character. And then finally, Parker Posey and Michael Hitchcock as Meg and Hamilton Swan.
Great names.
The dysfunctional married couple.
Yeah. So all of these characters are like the epitome of stereotypes, right? Like every one of them is a fully formed stereotype.
Yes.
And, you know, in true like South Park or satire fashion, you can't really get upset because like everybody gets hit. Right? It's all happening. It's all happening in this movie.
Aaron, which couple did you find the funniest this time around?
I think they just how like anxious they were with the dog and like the airport, freaking out in the airport. I don't know. It just really made me laugh this time. I always found the Stefan and Scott couple. Scott, is that John Michael Hayden's name in the movie?
Scott.
Right?
Yep.
Mary, Deborah, whatever, like the leather pants. But yeah, I don't know. I just found myself cracking up at that at them this time. But
and by the way, they're not a stereotype. They're just based. Sorry, dude. They are not a stereotype. They're just based on Doug and Bobby.
Doug and Bobby. Doug does not enjoy that. I mean, I have told him this. So my brother Douglas and his husband Bobby, from the time I saw this in 2000, I was like, Doug, you're in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, how many kimonos? We're going for 48 hours. How many kimonos do you need?
Two more.
I packed 7, so I need 2 more. I'm like, that's you. Like, I mean, this is my brother who, if he flies in for a long weekend, like there is no concept of not checking a bag because there's no way.
And he looks like him.
They look alike.
He looks almost identical to him.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't like it. I think he's very handsome. I find him to be a strikingly handsome man. Douglas does not think so. So that's really where it all comes. That's where he doesn't. Yeah, I know. I told him.
Doug doesn't listen to this. So
I do appreciate, and I think this is an important thing. He travels with his own pillows, which I myself do. You should not travel without your own pillow to sleep with.
And I mean, the fashion choices in this film are horrendous. Like, and I think they're pretty spot on. Like when you're looking at that dog show, like the get-ups that the judges wear, the like weird formal wear on these very softball-esque player women who are judging the dogs. Like it's just weird blazers over dresses. They're just like tanks of women. Like they are like muscular women with long ball gowns on. It just looks awkward.
I want to clear that I did not make that statement.
Yeah.
It's true. Like they look like they should be playing rugby.
I'm going to tag my sisters in this.
I said softball players.
Exactly.
They are a muscular. Both of your sisters could easily beat me up. That's
point taken.
Yeah.
And I will be tagging them in this.
My yoga teacher frame will crumple under the stare of their softball player gaze. Anyway, what I was saying was, what's our actor's name? I never know. What's the guy's name?
Which one? I don't know what you're talking about.
I was talking about the fashion choices of the Doug lookalike. What's his name?
I don't know that guy.
His name.
Scott Donlin.
Scott Donlin. His wardrobe is impeccable. He looks so good in the end. The way he carries himself, his carriage in that bolero jacket and the nice little pointy boot.
That was good. That was quite an outfit.
And his like facial expressions when the judge is looking at his dog and he's doing the
nails
like the eyes.
He nails it. He is my favorite character. I adore him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the two, like Aaron's saying, but I feel like I love that because I hated people like that. And like, I feel like we were old enough to know people who were very much like on the path to become those two people. So I appreciate it. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when people were like that and I hated them. So now I will laugh at them.
Yeah. Alicia's already here.
Well, and I think too, just being a pet parent.
I'm sorry. I have to make a public apology already. Before the episode even ends, I am going to apologize for statements that I have made about softball players.
Yeah. This podcast didn't age well. 10 minutes ago, Katie said something that's awful.
They were not fully formed. They were not fully formed statements. As usual, I have stuck my foot right on in my mouth all the way back to my throat.
And now my sister's going to stick her foot right in your ass.
Yep.
I would just like to add, again, breaking the fourth wall here. Katie was like, well, we could get more listeners. There will be no new listeners after this episode.
Oh, yeah.
If this is your
I'm
first
bringing my A game.
It is also your last episode listening.
There will be no cocktails prior to episodes going forward.
When you post on social media, is it socially acceptable to start drinking at 4:00?
That was me.
That was Jim. It was a rough day.
Completely
it was a rough
fine.
day. Rough day.
So honestly, I think that the Swan couple may be the one that ages the worst, and not because it's inappropriate, but
It's of a time.
It's of a time, and I don't think it comes across. They just come across as crazy, which is really funny. But I would love to hear from some younger folks if the absurdity of them resonates as even close to being true. Because, of course, the Starbucks thing makes sense, but I think J. Crew, like, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore.
Yeah,
I know it is, but like
that or the catalogs.
It was so pervasive at the time. J. Crew and Starbucks, that like that whole thing, and basically the they're like the dinks, right? The double income, no kids thing with like braces and
who treat their dog like their child.
Who treat their dog like their child. Thank God it's a dog and not a child.
Yeah, to an unhealthy degree.
Yeah. Go ahead, Aaron.
But I think that like anxiety, that pet parent anxiety is still relatable. I don't know that their caricature is, but I think that idea of just like people who are just obsessed with their dogs is still very much a thing.
Yeah, Alicia makes a great point here.
Personal experience.
Yeah, Alicia said in the chat that the couple is basically like the hipsters of the early 2000s. So like we hadn't gotten to a point where like hipsters were really there, but we did have these yuppies, like these almost like new yuppies, like not the 80s style, but like this new version of yuppies where they were into all these new things and quote unquote self-betterment.
Yeah, the new version would be like we were at yoga together, and then we went to that thrift store we went to the consignment shop down the road,
and then we got lederhosen and we wore them home, and I played a banjo,
and then we went to the beer garden. Yeah. So our listener with children who have seen the movie said she had to explain what a catalog is, because that is something that
there are no hipsters on Facebook anymore. So there's that.
No, that's we're fine there. I do think it's interesting though that it is that's probably the only area where they went for a time specific thing. Like Harlan Pepper could be. There's still people like Harlan Pepper out there.
Yep.
Scott and Stefan, like obviously,
well, what's funny is
still a relevant character
with them as the forefront gay couple. We find out later that there's another gay couple, but as far as putting them up front as like the gay couple who owns a dog, they're sort of playing with the idea that like there is this stereotypical gay person and not Scott, right? The other one.
Yeah.
And then there's like the no, quote unquote like more straight laced gay guy. And so like, you know, that's I honestly didn't see either of them as like stereotypical.
I think you could, but I also think that they, you know, for a movie in 2000, they do a good job of just presenting them as like a, so there's a normalcy to them and their relationship where like they look totally fine compared to Parker Posey and her husband
or
and Cookie
Flash.
and her. So like they become the like well-rounded, you know, like grounded couple.
And I don't think
it's great.
Like the humor about them it's like not that the joke's on them. It's like who they are. Do you know what I mean? It's not like how we're going to laugh at them because of the things they do. It's just because they're funny in the way they're embracing who they are,
like
which is awesome.
He's making other people feel uncomfortable because he knows he can, because other folks aren't ready to like talk openly about homosexuality yet, right? So they're playing on that where it's like, he just wants to make other folks, you know, feel a little heebie-jeebie, and he thinks that's funny. Yeah.
I will say my Parker Posey thing.
All right.
I get this feeling from Parker Posey that she is terrifying to be around.
Interesting.
I feel like she is the person at a party that like is the wild card where she could just like be like, oh yeah, everything's great and everything's fine. And then she's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I can see
like,
that.
And then like freaking out.
I can see that.
And I think it's from like.
Remember her in Dazed and Confused?
Yes. Absolutely. She's the girl that squirts the ketchup and mustard all over the freshmen, and she's awful.
Yeah. Come on, you freshman. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like there's this like unpredictableness to her. And then she's in like Blade Trinity where she's terrifying in that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, she just has this vibe. And part of that is, to your point, prior to we went live, do I find her attractive? I think part of that is attractive, but part of that is terrifying.
Yeah, you like wild cards. It's true.
Not a wild card.
I'm a safe wild card. In my research, I discovered
like a wild, not a draw for. Like a wild,
research?
not a draw for.
like a wild card that also wants a retirement
Jim,
account and a plan for the weekend.
Put a timestamp on this. Katie just said in my research. I want to know what she
In
was
my research,
researching and what this is going towards.
I did do some research because we started the movie and I was like, who is Christopher Guest married to? It's somebody famous. And I had it right. I said, I think it's Jamie Lee Curtis. And then I needed to confirm. And I was right. But in reading about Christopher Guest, what I found really interesting is that folks comment very often after working with him on the difference between his on-screen personality and the stories that he writes versus who he is in real life. Apparently, he's a very serious guy.
Yeah.
And so he writes these like, you know, complex comedies and these great characters that are not anything like him in real life. And I thought that was very fascinating.
So you're saying he's an actor?
Well, yeah, but I think there is a notion that like folks who lean into comedic writing are also just like funny. You know, like I expect if I were to meet like Seth Rogen, that he's just like a guy that's just going to be like lighthearted and, you know, tell jokes. That's what I expect. So,
and he's a serious guy.
If I met Seth Rogen and he was just like a serious guy who never cracked a smile, I would be shocked.
I'm sure if you were dealing with any of them in a social situation, it's different than dealing with them in a business relationship or making a film, which is a very serious proposition.
No, but in my research, Christopher Guest actually spoke to this and said that really is just like who he is. Okay. Like that he is just... he saves that for the screen, and like he's just a pretty low-key guy in real life.
All his writing is very satirical though. So in some sense it does make sense. It's not, you know, it's not humor. There's no gag. I guess there's a little bit of gag or sight humor in it, but not like gratuitous Dumb and Dumber farting type of humor.
All right.
So
yeah, that's it.
Why do people want to go to dog shows?
I don't know.
As an aside,
I don't know.
You guys,
I mean,
all of you own dogs. I do not. I don't.
Well, I think it's anything. I think with any kind of these like niche cultures, there's like a community, right? And so like if that's the community you find yourself in because you love your dog and you're interested in like the breeding aspects, and you know, like I find myself in the guitar culture all the time, and in the world of the internet, like
equally nerdy.
Yeah, equally nerdy. Gaming culture, like I'm involved in that as well.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, and you know, I can be obsessive about stupid little things on guitars and how they sound and how I can change it to make it sound better. So like, and there's other people that have that same obsession. So like, I think I think part of the reason these movies work is because everybody deep down, everybody knows that they have, whether it's on full display or not, they have an obsession with something that like they may feel shame about putting it on display, but the folks in his movies never feel shame about it. Right. And so like, I think that's partly why some of this stuff works, is that you know that these people exist. And not only that, you know that you're sort of one of them with certain things. Interesting.
I don't feel like I'm one of those people. I relate most to the Fred Willard character in this film.
I do too.
Where I would just have 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
And feel wildly out of place.
Right.
And that I am like but also the sore thumb of the scene.
No, not really. Because I don't think, even when I've heard you like question someone sort of like Fred Willard questions this experience, you never do it from a place of like shaming.
No, I don't think he does either.
No, the only person you would ever do that to is me.
Yes, true.
Which speaks volumes.
Let's unpack that. Let's discuss that a little.
You just heard her say that I was
going to save that for our therapy session with Scout and the psychiatrist.
Yeah. But you know, I like, even thinking back to like Spinal Tap, like their obsession with music, and like that movie's more about with the obsession of fame, right? And like how that can go totally wrong. Then you have Waiting for Guffman, sort of the same idea, obsession with fame and like being being an actor waiting for an Oscar or whatever it is. Or no, that's not the Oscar one, right? That's For Your Consideration.
That's For Your Consideration.
Waiting for Guffman is, again, just validation, like waiting for, because they're putting on a play and there's apparently a famous guy coming to review them, right? That's Waiting for Guffman. Mm-hmm. And so like that's another one where it's all these like, it's all these niche little areas waiting for validation or confirmation in like all the emotion and work they put into this like one little thing.
Maybe I just haven't found my thing yet.
I mean, you found so many goddamn things.
No, I know, but I've never found a thing that I've like wanted to go all in on, you know? That was worth it for me to just like ignore other parts of my life and just like dial right into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
we
I'm
could
still
explore that.
Yeah. Maybe
you
it's still out there.
On that? Like, what do you?
I don't know. What could it be?
Is there a list we could?
I don't know. Maybe
it's.
Throw some ideas at me. I mean, maybe I just need to. No, I've
gardening.
Tried it. Nope, tried it.
Kites.
Tried it.
Ooh, kites.
I did. No,
kites?
Magnets.
Yeah, Jer Kern is a huge kite flyer. Yeah, we've done kites.
Okay.
Magnets. I played with magnets. Yep.
Ghouls.
No, I'm not so in. I'm not into the ghouls.
I'm just doing Charlie Kelly.
No.
Stuff.
What about like lawn gnomes?
Lawn
you could
gnomes,
like paint them.
Yeah.
No. I do like painting.
You
I
like
painting.
yoga?
I do like yoga, but still,
Thanks, hype.
not enough
I take that as a
Yeah,
compliment.
I was going to say yoga. That's what.
You fucking got certified to teach yoga.
No, I know, but so like
you
everything
are a
that
wine
I've
entrepreneur.
everything that I would say that I have some knowledge in.
Oh, yeah.
I would still say that I'm like mediocre.
So you want to do
mean-
like a deep dive like I did, like read 20 books on like Alexander Hamilton. You like
Yeah,
want to
I don't
commit to
have
something
any
like that.
Well, no, but here's the thing: I don't have any desire to do that. That's so this point that Jim's making of like that there's something in all of us. I'm just wondering, like, maybe I haven't. Maybe it is. Maybe I should like train Scout. Maybe I should be that person that like gets our dog to be like an agility course. She's certainly not a purebred, so we're out of the like dog show. But maybe she could do like agility courses. I knew somebody. I worked with somebody. They went to Australia for those things.
For an agility course for their dog?
Did I ever tell you guys about Murphy's mom? Remember Murphy, my parents' old dog?
Yeah.
His mom was a show dog. Crack Me a Bud was her name.
Oh, Crack Me a Bud.
Crack me a bud. Love it.
That's amazing. I have so many
She's
questions
amazing.
just about that name. I'm pretty sure we have a show dog around the block from us, and it's a poodle. And
The butt things.
yeah, she has the butt thing. She does. She's got the she's got the
shaved,
feet
like,
thing.
She
And,
looks like Rhapsody in
I mean,
white.
it's a whole thing. Watching them walk her is a whole thing. Where like, yeah, it is like Rhapsody in White. But like they'll use like German cues or like little like snaps and whistles, and she just like trots along.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that the Westminster Dog Show one season, the Best in Show dog was named Mrs. Costello?
What?
Mrs. Costello won the Westminster Dog Show.
What is the story there?
I don't know, but as you can imagine, my brothers and I had a field day with my
Patty
mother
Costello,
about that.
tell us your secrets.
Well, she's not the only Mrs. Costello anymore.
I know, but
yeah,
this
but this
was
one was
before.
this.
This was
When was
long
this?
ago.
This is
Yes,
Patty.
this was
This is
long
Patty.
ago.
Yeah.
Yes, you can imagine. We won't have to tell the jokes that
I
were
need
told,
to know.
but
I need to know.
it was interesting.
What else? We do need to talk about Fred Willard, because I think his character represents, if they were looking for an outsider coming into this culture, it's him in this movie. But then instead of just making him an outsider in this culture, going like, what's going on here? Like, there are so many movies like Waiting. I immediately think of Waiting in this aspect, because the whole movie takes place from like the point of view of a new employee at a restaurant who basically doesn't get to talk the entire movie. And that's supposed to, represent the audience as like learning about this culture. They take Fred Willard and put him in this movie as like the guy who doesn't know about this culture. One, they give him like the most important job, which is like announcing and doing the color commentary for the dog show. And two, they tell him to like turn it up to 12 and just ask as many absurd questions as
I
you
want to
possibly
know how much of that was scripted and how much of that was just him.
I would bet most of it was improv.
I would love to. I want to believe that, because it makes it that
Like,
much funnier.
The questions like, how much do you think I could bench press? Like,
Or when he says, my favorite,
oh my God.
take his little dog and put a little Sherlock Holmes hat on.
yeah.
Gets really nervous about the way that the
I wouldn't want to go on a date with her.
Or I love the subtle line where he recognizes Cookie Fleck. He goes, she looks familiar. He really turns the
so
movie.
good.
Yeah.
He turns the movie, like, in my mind, even more so this time, he takes a movie that's like a really good movie, like up to that point, and he cements it, because his, like, you're laughing so hard every time he's on, like, everything, like, it gives you that sense that the rest of the movie, when you go back and watch it, like, for a second time, you're like, you're gonna laugh, so you're invested in really listening to the dialogue of all the other, like, little side characters, and you start picking up so much more of what's actually taking place in it.
and the chemistry between him and the straight guy, whose name I also don't know.
I don't know that.
But
either.
like, he sells it so much as like he's clearly a professional in this industry, right?
Yes,
and like,
who's brought in
and is balancing this, like, just wanting to do his job well with this like need to kind of humor this guy, and being like super ticked off that this guy clearly is not taking this seriously.
Well, I think the vibe they give you is that this guy, Fred Willard's character, is like a national like news media type guy, right? Like
So you just got like the anchor from Fox News.
Right. This is like
drop on it.
Regis,
Yeah.
right? He's Regis. Right. He's like bringing Regis in to try to get ratings up or something.
I wonder if that was a nod.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Well, it is. It's like all those guys, Jim Gray, Jim Lampley, who were back then, Brent Musper. You don't have them as much now, but they would.
Well,
do
you
all
got like
these
Ryan
weird,
Seacrest is like the closest thing we have.
I don't think you could compare Ryan Seacrest though in terms like Regis really did have that like ridiculousness to him.
Right,
you know?
right. Oh no, not
Ryan's
the ridiculous.
much
I
more
mean
like
like the job level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the shit that he would say, like Regis Philbin's pretty spot on, I think, as a comparison. So wait, our Hop Hog researcher, Best in Show expert, said there was only 16 pages of this script actually written down.
Yeah. So thank you, Lar.
And I love that idea. Can you imagine that most of this is just like the actors and actresses, like that takes this genius to a whole other level.
Yeah, they're insanely talented.
Super talented.
Do you want my hot take though?
Oh, no, I don't, because I disagree with it. Go ahead, say your thing, but know that that's not the truth. That's just your mind.
No. This is not my favorite. I went into this movie thinking that it was my favorite of this style movie.
Oh, okay.
And I think after watching it so close to Spinal Tap, I think this would have benefited from a director that was not, what's his name? Christopher Guest. I think the editing in this is a little.
It's like Jim Henson.
No. I love this movie. But I do think there are certain moments where the joke just goes a little too far, and not in a way that like makes it inappropriate, but just like they hit a beat and it's like that's hilarious, and then it goes like a half a beat longer and it's like like cut that out. I think Rob Reiner in Spinal Tap took what Christopher Guest was giving him and like made it. I think he elevated it.
All right, that's fair. I think that your love of music is going to make you view Spinal Tap in a rosier glow just because that speaks more to you.
Matter.
It could, but jokes.
I love Little Dogs,
but the jokes are not music jokes.
Some of them are,
but they're not the ones that I like. Like the turn it to 11 thing. That's not like those aren't really funny to me. It's more the interactions of like the people that make me laugh.
Okay. I would like to do a listener poll and compare these two films.
Yeah.
I don't know if they compare in terms of like viewership. You know, I think Spinal Tap was probably a bigger movie than Best in Show.
That's true. Yeah.
But for folks that have seen both, I want to know what.
But I shouldn't limit it to just Spinal Tap, because watching it close to Drop Dead Gorgeous, I thought Drop Dead Gorgeous made me laugh more than this movie.
Yeah.
This movie.
I love Drop.
Oh, really?
You know,
See, I thought this
Dead
one. I would take this one over Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Interesting. What about you, Aaron?
It is the same basic premise in some respects.
Yeah.
Air, we got to get the Wi-Fi at the tower.
What is going on with your internet in that place?
You are up high enough that I feel like you're right next to those towers, that your Wi-Fi should be like spot on. What happens when you teach class from home? What's going on? Do your kids hear you?
I'm gonna try to sign in on my phone because I can tell that this is not going well.
It's a high traffic. It's a high traffic.
I love it. Oh my gosh, friends! Aaron just joined. Oh, you gotta change your audio. You gotta shut it down. All right. Erin just joined from her phone, and she has her 36th first day of school teacher picture, and it is adorable. Oh, and there I am again.
It looks better.
This is
yeah, this is gonna get interesting.
We're in the Twilight Zone.
You have to turn your.
I'm trying to leave. Oh my god. I'm sweating now. That was so stressful.
This is actually.
Oh my god, dude! It looks
is a-
so much better, and we can talk to you in time.
This is a mockumentary
like,
about life during the pandemic. Digital.
This is turning into like Hollywood Squares for a second. There were like 4 boxes there. I thought Jim J. Shadow Stevens was going to make an appearance.
Did you guys expect anything else when I told you that I needed, like, my computer needed its break?
Yeah, no, we can
time
see
to be
you
able to
so
see
well.
it?
Oh my
really
gosh,
good
you're like,
before the
you're
episode
human
started.
now.
You're
I
not
can
blurry?
see your
Yeah.
face is moving.
I thought I was
We
really
are-
drunk and blurry, but you look crystal clear right now.
We are just going to
I just
restart
tell
this
you-
episode.
Oh my
Let's just
gosh.
restart it. Can we go back? This is actually
Anything-
usually the time we start recording.
We are
on
not in a
most
Christopher
nights.
Guest movie about podcasts right now.
I don't know, because I'm being trolled right now by a softball player because of the comments that I've made during this podcast. So it feels like real life,
Yeah.
like real challenges of technology during the pandemic.
Okay.
Cancel culture.
No, it's so funny because I could tell anytime I would say anything, you guys would be like,
We were waiting. There was like a 10-second delay.
I didn't say anything like
The one time I was like,
controversial. I don't-
Aaron, what do you think? And we just went,
I was very impressed with everybody's patience.
yeah. We'll just cut it. We'll just cut the long pauses out, and it won't feel awkward at all.
Jim never goes back and cuts anything out. It's
Jim
going out
said,
just
"No,
like
I'll
this.
cut that." One
It
week
will
I was
sound
like, Jim,
exactly
Jim,
like
I'd
this.
really like if you could like beep this where I basically called Thomas Jefferson a piece of shit. Could you beep that? Oh, I'll take care of
Thomas
it. Don't
Jeffferson was
Never-
a
Don't
piece
worry.
of
Don't
shit.
worry. I'll take
Never
care of it.
edits
I'll take care of
anything.
it. I'm listening to it. No,
Listen.
I always say, I'm like, did you even listen to it?
Linda, listen.
Not edited.
All right, there
Linda,
we go.
listen.
No editing.
Thomas Jefferson was a piece of shit, but most of those people back then were pieces of shit.
I'll tell you what, Jim doesn't have any problem editing into every episode. The episode commercial at the beginning where he calls himself the favorite member.
Favorite
of the
member.
That does that
Favorite-
automatically,
oh, yeah,
dude. That
it's
is
all-
workflow.
every
Every week
single
he
time.
starts it out.
Yeah.
Favorite member.
Yeah.
Even though I believe a poll has
Oh,
shown that
Fiona.
not to be true.
Oh, hi. We have a doggy joining our episode tonight, friends at home.
By the way,
She is so concerned about what's
for
happening.
a show about dogs, the only one I think that is even close to memorable is the one that wins.
Winky.
Winky.
Winky's
Because he
amazing.
looks like two
Toto.
meatballs with fur.
No, he's Toto from The Wizard of Oz.
He is
But
really
he's-
cute little
I
dog.
thought you were going to give compliments to the dog that is
Well,
joining us
I
on
was
our
gonna
show.
say
Let's go to do that.
that
Fiona's waiting.
Who is currently cleaning herself, so we're just
Yeah.
going to turn it back around.
Listen.
Hey,
Fiona.
wow, that fits in
That
with
feels
this
like a
episode in
different
lots
show.
of ways.
Fiona has much more personality than any of the dogs.
I-
Except maybe the part where Christopher Guest is like playing with the bloodhound.
Sometimes you talk to the
Yeah, that first off,
talk to the judge.
it almost like it almost made me like break the immersion of like this is a character, because I'm like, that's not his dog. That's some
Yeah.
like, I wonder how much time he spent with that dog, because the dog is just like amazingly loving on him.
I love that scene.
Yeah, it's great.
I do love that character. I like
amazing.
his times in the RV with his ventriloquist dummy. I love Harlan Pepper. I love seeing him at the fly shop. I love it. I love him.
See, like the ventriloquist is sort of what I'm talking about. Like the first part of that where you see him 6 months later performing to the VFWs.
Mm-hmm.
The first half of that is amazing. The second half where he's like spinning the rope, it's like, okay. And it's, to me,
right.
it ends on a like, nah, it's not that fun.
Feel the same way about Stonehenge. Go ahead.
Well, you feel the same way about Stonehenge?
In Spinal Tap. Beat too long.
I know.
Beat too long.
You're missing the whole point of that. That's that.
That is the point
All
of
right,
that
wait.
scene.
There are some amazing things happening right now. Okay, so number one, we're talking about Harlan Pepper and his love of ventriloquism. And we have a listener right now who is deep into ventriloquism. He is going to be a ventriloquist dummy for Halloween. If we're able to, could we share the video
Yeah, like,
of the
can you
ventriloquism?
please get us video?
There is.
Is he like gonna sit on Rob's arm and like pretend to talk? Because that would be awesome.
No, it's Matilda. Matilda pretends to be the ventriloquist dummy, and he's
I
the
love that.
ventriloquist.
So-
No, he
sister
says my son is
pretends
going to
to
be
be
a
the
ventriloquist
brothers.
dummy for Halloween.
I know.
All
but
you have
they
to do is
just-
read the comment.
No, but this has been going on for months. There is a longer story than just this. There are videos.
Well, I didn't know all of that.
Well, you haven't been paying attention.
Brian wants to quit life. He's rubbing his face right now, folks, which means it's time to end
our
this
listeners
podcast.
are agreeing that the bloodhound is the better dog than
Yeah. But
what is the terrier's name?
Winky.
God loves a terrier.
I think Winky is so funny because there's nothing like about that dog that like
No.
screams dog show.
Oh, absolutely. And
Whereas like even the bloodhound, like looking at that dog, you're like, that's a beautiful dog.
Yes.
yeah, I mean, all of my Westminster knowledge, I wouldn't look at Winky and be like, oh, that's a classic Yorkie Terrier.
Right,
Like she looks
exactly.
like a little pudgy.
She looks like two meatballs with fur.
She's got some LBs on her.
Now you're fat shaming dogs.
Our trainer was like, so, on a dog that's 20 pounds, an extra 3 pounds makes them morbidly obese. So apparently Scout,
Your dog is morbidly obese. You're sharing this now?
apparently we've been feeding Scout a little bit too much food.
So that woman's dead now.
We don't see her anymore.
Yeah.
I just felt like she was body shaming Scout. I mean, we don't have time for that.
Helpful.
No time for that.
I have
All right.
no
What else are we doing?
Yeah, Aaron needs to talk about this movie. I'm gonna take some drinks.
Well, did you guys realize that
Maybe-
what's his
maybe
name?
not.
Leslie
maybe not take a
Cabot.
drink. Being a good idea for this rest of the episode.
Why don't Brian and I take more drinks?
I'm going to start a breakout room and leave. See who else I can find online.
I'll see you in there.
Zoom breakout meeting.
So Leslie Cabot is Blue from Old School.
Oh my God! I didn't
Yes!
think about that.
Very
That's
good.
So
Very good.
true.
He looks
my
like that
research,
viral video of
I
the man
found
that
that out.
dances. You know what I'm talking about? It's just like-
Amazing.
There's no way that guy's still alive.
Oh
no, he
di-
is.
He is.
Oh, I looked him up.
No.
I looked him up. He was
He's like
apparently
110.
not as old in that movie as he looked. I swear.
By the way, that is supposed to be like a riff on Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Character, like, I mean, which it doesn't matter, I guess. It's not
We
like
both
the
like
J.
soup.
Crew stuff, and which is a direct thing. Like,
we both like talking and not talking. I mean, we could just not talk.
We both like soup. She is so
We
good.
both like soup. We could just not talk until we find something to not talk about again. She's great.
And when they create American Bitch, a lesbian
my
pure
God.
breed dog magazine.
Like, again, like the pairings, I just find the partnerships that they create masterful because the way that they speak to each other. So, she talking to Jane Lynch, like the makeup conversation where they're like both speaking to the camera about the makeup experience. I'm like, it was a really classy, it was a smoky eye. And what does Jane Lynch say about that?
It was too much.
It was too much. She's
all
a
right.
dynamo in the sack.
Likewise, I bet.
I bet.
Oh my God. It's great.
All right, we have to move on from this movie, and we'll be doing it in like 5 more episodes later, so we can actually discuss the movie in some kind of coherent way. So if people have ever
Jim's
seen the movie,
still
they
trying
get
to
it.
find this man
Yeah.
that plays. He can't find him in the cast list.
His
I
name is
would-
Patrick Cranshaw, I think.
Wow.
Or, it's not Crenshaw, but I looked him. I did my research.
Look at
I wanted to
you.
be prepared. I didn't get a strong internet connection, but I did research.
I know. How did you do it? Use a like
My boy
uh,
Blue.
I
He's
had to
still
go to the
alive.
library and look up old periodicals.
died.
I was gonna say
He died in 2005, so he's been dead 15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's still alive though.
He was born in 1919.
Feels very alive. The
He's
pictures
alive in our
I saw
hearts
of
and
him
minds.
looked very
Hearts
recent.
and minds, he's alive.
Yeah.
He's still with us. All right, so watch Best in Show.
Watch this movie.
Yeah, it's good.
My God.
It's great.
Watch the movie. Don't listen to
I have
this episode
pictures
if
of
you're
Darwin as a
hearing anything
ventriloquist.
about
My
it.
phone is dead, but we will get them out there to the viewers. Thank you. That's great.
All right, it's time for Game of the Week.
Is it though?
It is. This is the episode where I'm really glad I moved the beer fridge into the Comm Majors Boston studio.
Yeah, I am out of whiskey.
It has been more. Let's all take a minute.
I can't. It's sad. This is what happens when we put the show on a Saturday. It's bad fucking news. I have cursed so much.
Use your beeper. You haven't.
I have cursed so fucking much.
You beeped at the wrong time.
I didn't beep at the wrong fucking time.
Beep at the wrong time.
This is first breaking news. Hit the breaking news.
Breaking news.
For the first time in Comm Majors history, we're doing a bonus What Are We Drinking this episode because I don't have any more Miller Lite in the fridge. So for the rest of the episode, I'll be drinking Blue Point Summer Ale, which is crisp, clean, and refreshing.
It's October 24th.
Isn't there a dog called the Blue Pointer?
Thank you to Craig Goldberg, who brought this beer back as part of his Long Island beer selection.
The world
that
does
he
not
brought back
stop
as a
and
gift.
start with you.
You insignificant.
Thank you.
All right, time for Game of the Week, in which we'll actually let Erin speak as a guest on the program.
Well, how about I go get beverages so I don't cut her off?
Yeah, okay, good.
All right, here, Game of the Week this week is Fast Four. We're ranking these 4 classic American sitcoms. Well, though one of them is really not an American sitcom, but sitcoms that people in America love. Schitt's Creek, which obviously has a huge connection to this film. The Office, Arrested Development, and Seinfeld. Now, who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Jim, why don't you go first? Erin can.
Everyone else can think about it. Erin, did you know the
No,
shows
go
there?
ahead. You can go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was really hard because
It's not hard.
I think all of these are great. But I think
I didn't pick a bad one.
There is certainly enough time between them that they all sort of do different. They all have different significance. So I have to go Seinfeld, number one.
So we go number one. Okay.
Number
so you're going
one is
from top
Seinfeld.
to
I
bottom.
just fell off my chair.
Stop, and I'll explain. Seinfeld, The Office, Schitt's Creek, and then Arrested Development. Wow. And the reason I do that is because I can't look at Seinfeld and The Office and not think of what they afforded the others. Well, I guess Arrested Development I put at the end because I think it has a smaller, very niche sense of humor. But as far as big giant shows, obviously Seinfeld and The Office are giant shows, and Schitt's Creek has been pretty giant for Netflix. But as far as a mass consumer, it is not giant at all.
Okay.
And so wait, time out. I'm not done. Seinfeld is basically like the Nirvana of sitcoms, right? Like before that, you had hair metal that was all the same. Everything was the same. Everything sounded and looked the same. And then all of a sudden, there was a show that everyone was like, "Holy shit, what is this?" And I think without Seinfeld, you don't get The Office or you don't get any of the other 3. Because I think it changed the sense of humor of what was possible in a primetime sitcom.
I don't disagree with your approach to this question. I don't answer this question the same way.
You're right. If it's what I like,
I'm interested in how you're going to answer it.
Well, that's it.
Is it
right?
in Spanish?
No. So I'm sorry.
That would be nice.
I'm not approaching
Mandarin?
this as the the James Beard Award for restaurants. I'm approaching this as what's Katie's personal opinion on these 4 shows. I had an emotional reaction to Schitt's Creek, unlike I had with any of these shows, and
That's true.
that goes to the top of my list. I've already in the past 3 days been I think it's time for me to rewatch Schitt's Creek. I just finished it not very long ago.
Right.
I'm ready for the rewatch. Whereas Seinfeld, I don't think I'm ever going to get to a point where I'm I would like to rewatch that. No. The Office, yes. So here's my order is Schitt's Creek, The Office, Arrested Development, which I love, but it's just a touch more intelligent. I don't know.
It is not something you can binge. I don't think you can binge Arrested Development.
So I can just enjoy Schitt's Creek and The Office, whereas Arrested Development, I have to really be paying attention to catch everything. So that's number 3.
It's funny.
Yep.
I think,
and then Seinfeld's number 4.
if you're not paying attention to Arrested Development, I feel like it's not very funny.
Yeah, 100%.
The moment
You have to be really paying attention. Yes. So that's my order, and I'm sticking to it.
I totally agree
Thank you.
with your criteria.
Well,
Thank you.
but you don't agree with their order because it was like the opposite.
It's the opposite of yours.
Exact opposite of what you had. Aaron, how about you?
Well, mine is actually the same as Katie's for similar reasons, I think. I sort of debated between Schitt's Creek and The Office just because of, The Office was around, I guess, a little bit longer just when it came out. Like, I use it as a joke when back to school night, like when I tell them that I went to the University of Scranton, it's like the only reason that people would know where that is at this point if they're not from here. But Schitt's Creek, I have the same, I just love it so much. And I appreciate Seinfeld, but I wasn't a big Seinfeld super fan. I'll watch it and I think it's really funny, but I don't have that same investment in it. So I have the same order as Katie. I was not expecting that, but I do.
Yeah.
There you go. I would like a picture. I would like Jim to go back and re-edit the video for this and just superimpose a David Rose face on me for this entire episode.
Yep.
Because I kind of feel like
You feel like David Rose right now?
I feel like David Rose.
I love that you feel like David Rose.
I have not finished Schitt's Creek yet.
Is Jim your
making
Patrick?
our way through it. So I will have to put that in the bottom of my list. Have to put it on the bottom of my list just because I haven't gotten through all of it yet. And I have to be fair, it's the show of the 4 that has made me laugh out loud the least.
What season are you at?
I'm almost done with season 3. It's gotten funnier every season. It definitely makes me laugh out loud. But I would put Arrested Development third. I loved the first 2 seasons of Arrested Development. I think if you watch those 2 and you really listen to it, there's at least one line in every episode of the first 2 seasons that you will almost die laughing. Office second, because I think you could watch. I should preface this: Office when Michael Scott's on, because I never watched an episode when Michael Scott wasn't on, so I can't do that. And I think Seinfeld, I love Seinfeld. You're hard pressed to find a single episode of Seinfeld that you will not laugh out loud at least one thing that happens in it. I think you can laugh at Schitt's Creek. If I had to pick one that I think the writing is the best at getting you to have an emotional attachment to the characters, I think the writing at Schitt's Creek is the best of any of them at attaching you and making you love those characters. So I think from that perspective, I just think from a pure laugh out loud sentiment, I can't think of a Seinfeld episode I ever saw where I didn't laugh. Even the last one, the finale, which everyone bags on, it's not a great episode, but there's still at least one time that you're gonna really laugh. But that's my order, I think, for it. And I think Jim's right. Seinfeld influenced the way that comedy was allowed to be.
But and I think comedy specific as a genre is so hard to compare across generations and across time like this, because Laura's already saying in chat, The Office and Seinfeld, some of it did not age well at all.
Right.
And that's not fair to compare, because they're writing specifically for an audience at a specific time.
Sure.
And when you're writing humor, you have to do that. When you're writing drama, you don't have to write specifically for a time period to find what someone will find dramatic. But humor, you have to write for what someone will find funny in that culture in that moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Schitt's Creek feels the most relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
It does.
Well,
and I'll be honest, it feels like it leans a little bit more towards, I was just thinking, it's interesting that Aaron and I lean more towards Schitt's Creek, because when I think about Seinfeld, I'm like, it's a little bit more white male. It is like it has a more male sense of humor. Like it does. And Schitt's Creek leans a little bit more in the other direction.
But you know what's funny that's missing from this list that like real comedy people would be like, why isn't this on your list? Is something like Curb Your Enthusiasm. So like it would be
but that feels very closely aligned with Seinfeld.
Right, but it's not. So like that's a huge thing is that it's being written right now. And it's
well that show makes you cringe as much as it makes you laugh.
Right. It has that Office vibe to it.
Yeah. But even more so than The Office.
Wait a second. I had a thing. Oh, my thing was, since we're talking about Arrested Development versus Schitt's Creek. Dun, 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 dun. A question that was asked from one of our listeners was, who are the better commentators? Because in Dodgeball, you have Jason Bateman and Fred. Is that right? Is it? Are the
no?
Who are the commentators? Jason Bateman and who in Dodgeball? Laura Merrick. We need our expert on the scene.
Think about it.
Okay, because in my mind it's Fred, but I'm probably wrong. But he played
Gary Cole, who is the guy from Office Space.
Jason Bateman plays the Fred character, Fred Willard.
No. Yeah, kind of. Yes, you're right.
He's the wild card.
Yeah, he's the wild, but like insanely wild to the point where he's like not even sitting in his chair. He's like standing on the chair and kneeling on the chair.
So he watched Best in Show.
He's Matt
and
Fulmer.
Was like, yes to this. And then what if I take this to the next level?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, it is definitely a nod to Fred Willard.
Well, and let's, and when did Dodgeball come out? Because that was...
It was after. It was
after, but was it? It was prior to Arrested Development.
2004.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Jim tells me that I'm bad at the internet, but sometimes I watch the way he searches for things. I'm like, am I really the one that's bad at the internet?
No, I was right around the time of Arrested Development because Arrested Development's first season was 2003 or 4.
Yeah, so it's right around the same time.
That window where
that was his
Jason
like
Bateman.
Resurgence, right?
Yes, it was.
Like I feel like he was not in any movies, and then he was in Dodgeball.
Well, no, his career, there's actually he does an amazing interview if you ever, I mean, I'm not a big Howard Stern guy, except when he does interviews. His interviews are amazing. And Jason Bateman like talks about that. Like, they didn't want him. Nobody wanted him for Michael Bluth. And that like changed him. Yeah. You know, he basically ruined his career with Teen Wolf 2.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, come on, it's not that bad.
It's that bad, Brian.
It's not that bad. It's pretty good.
I mean, he's not Tom Cruise.
Got a musical number in there. I mean, there's a lot going on. Coming up next week on the show, Teen Wolf 2.
The Ocho.
Not even the first one. All right, it's time for 5 questions. Here we go.
You want answers? You want answers?
First time, baby.
I want the truth.
Makes him mad, Mr. Lebowski.
What the fuck is the internet?
Why'd you? Why?
Right, you and Laura Merrick are sharing a brain right now. Like, as you spoke things, she was typing.
Yeah. And she said, and Juno. He was in Juno. And
yes, he was.
There's a thing
was
happening.
Pretty,
it's interesting. Funny thing about Juno is he turned that down.
Yeah.
And then,
but then he was in it, so that's weird.
No, yeah, but he turned it down. They started production, and whoever, I don't know if they said, Jennifer Garner gave an interview about it, and it fell through with the person. And she goes, well, why don't you call Jason Bateman back? Because he was supposed to do it. And they called him back, and that was like the beginning. That may be even more so than Arrested. I think that might have even helped him get Arrested Development.
Yeah, he was kind of a weird.
It was quirky. It was not.
He was
not
a good
Jason
guy
Bateman.
in that movie.
Yeah. Not at all. All right, here we go. 5 questions for Aaron Powers. First question, thumbs up or thumbs down question. Are you thumbs up or thumbs down on ventriloquists?
Well, I had my answer, and then I found out about Darwin's costume. So now I feel a little.
Just speak the truth.
Darwin, we love
Thumbs
you.
down.
We love you. But he knows. He knows.
Thumbs down.
Ventriloquism's a little creepy.
I love
He knows.
that's going to be his costume, but
It's going to be creepy as hell on Halloween, right? Yep. So maybe he knows that.
He knows.
I just want to say, when we were Aileen had never seen this movie and watched it with me.
I can't believe that.
And it got to the ventriloquist part, and I'm like, God, I hate ventriloquists. It's so creepy. It's so weird. She's like, oh, I love it. And then I realized, I am a ventriloquist.
I am
like
shook.
I hate them and I'm terrified of them, but that's me. Like I'm a ventriloquist, I guess. Like it's terrifying to me.
I am shook that Aileen likes that
I
form
know.
of
Wait.
art.
I have so many questions, obviously.
Is there does she go to conventions? I need to know right now.
No.
Also, we just need to know, what was her reaction to this film?
Oh, she loved the movie.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she thought it was great.
All right.
I would be interested in going to a hobby horse convention. Remember we had talked about that at
I
one
think
time.
you should go to simultaneous conventions where you go to the hobby horse convention and she goes to the
Well,
ventriloquist
she doesn't love
convention.
ventriloquism, but she just doesn't think it's creepy. I'm like, I think it's one of the creepiest forms of entertainment imaginable.
Yeah.
Actually.
Let's see if I can talk without moving my...
Would you rather see secondary question? Would you rather see
How do I do that?
a sock puppet or a ventriloquist?
I would rather see a ventriloquist because I am curious. It when you see somebody who's actually good at it, it is fascinating.
Is it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm just a little disturbed. All right, here we go. Question 2. Aaron, if the entire casts of the following movies were replaced by dog actors, which film would you rather watch? The Notebook or Pretty Woman?
Do dogs get Alzheimer's?
They could, I think.
Too soon?
We got to age the dogs.
Oh.
I'm gonna wet myself.
I think I have to go with Pretty Woman.
How about you,
Yeah.
Jim?
I'm
Which
thinking
one
of
would you
so
prefer?
many scenes from
The
Pretty
Notebook.
Women with dogs.
I want to see the war scene in the Notebook
No.
with dogs.
No.
I want to see a dog all bloodied up, half buried in snow.
Crawling.
No.
Yeah. I want to see all the dogs standing there getting their inspection when they're naked in the war scene, like covering their private parts.
No, I'm sorry. Let me give you the scenes. The Richard Gere driving through the top of the limo scene,
Oh, yeah.
holding flowers. Julia Roberts taking a tubby scene.
Oh, yeah,
Hysterical.
it's good. Yeah, that's a good
hysterical
one.
with
Yeah.
a poodle with the headphones on.
It's just sad because I don't remember
It's
any
great.
other scenes in the Notebook.
The dog with them, the scene with them making love on the piano. I want to see that.
Making love on the piano. Is that how we say that?
Is that what that was? Sounds.
The doggy shopping scene in Beverly Hills or wherever they are. Where are they?
We
They're
could
in
take-
New York,
we could take
California. I
Stefan-
don't know.
We could take
I was
Stefan
gonna do the
and Scott's
calendar.
idea and do like a calendar.
Yeah.
With Scout and Fiona.
is
We could dress them up in
fantastic.
Comm Majors movies outfits and have a calendar and sell it.
Scout. If
wanna
Scout is
see-
in The Pretty Woman, she is the roommate.
Yes, she is.
These
She's
characters-
Laura.
Is that
What's her name? Santa Giacomo. She's
Yeah.
got the longest last name. I want to see Fiona in thigh-high boots and a
getting a
tiny
little-
little black
it's getting-
mini
Yeah,
skirt.
I don't
Getting
understand.
this getting a little
Fiona.
weird. This is
That's a
taking a
pretty,
weird turn.
a pretty. She hears
All right.
you.
Hi, sweet girl. Would you wear a wig for us for our enjoyment?
I'm not a part of
Oh,
this.
Probably for Aunt Katie,
At
probably
all.
anything. But
Yep.
This
yeah.
is getting very odd. Question 3, fill in the blank question. The total number of men Cookie Fleck has carnal knowledge of is...
Isn't it just hundreds?
Hundreds.
Doesn't she say hundreds?
The way she
Hundreds.
drops that line, I'm sorry, it is one of
It's
the
so good.
best comedic
So-
moments.
so, like,
hundreds.
The funniest part of this whole thing is not the number, right? Like that is what it is, whatever. The way that it keeps coming up and she keeps not deflecting it and
Oh,
just
yeah.
leaning into it while her
Loves it.
husband
She loves it.
is there
Oh my god! At the end, and the
in the
sound booth.
studio. He's like, that is the first and last time I did it on a roller
I'm
coaster.
not wearing underwear.
Right.
I don't know what his name is, but she's like,
Bulch.
Bulch?
Bulch?
Is that you?
Oh, God.
This is
my
what I do
God.
for a living. This is what I do for a living. Come down here right now. I'm going to gouge your eye out with my thumb.
We didn't even talk about that scene.
I
It
love
was
it.
incredible.
Larry Miller.
so good.
Okay, question 4, favorite question. Aaron, what's your favorite movie you've ever watched with someone whose last name is DeSanta?
Wow, that's a big question. We've watched a lot of movies.
I know my
together.
favorite movie that I watched with Aaron. So pressure. There's two that are really good.
Is it Music from Another Room?
Actually, there's three. There's three because the third one involves another person.
With Gretchen Mullins.
What was you know what? The first one I thought of, Jim, and I don't know what this says about, because we've seen so many movies together, but that Vin Diesel movie that, A Man Apart.
A Man Apart. Everything is blurry.
And then,
Blurry was the song in the trailer, and we were like, we're going to see that fucking movie.
We totally did. That's the only reason why.
That was like when we went.
I was like, I want to see Vin Diesel kill a bunch of people because they fucked with his wife.
Yeah, well, that's like when the three of us went and saw the Steve Zahn Martin, what's his name movie, National Security, and the PSA they ran before it was the guy high on drugs killing somebody in a drive-through, and everybody started laughing, and we almost laughed.
Oh dear Lord!
I was like, I gotta leave. This
I will
is
say,
like 5 people here.
I've seen a lot of movies with Aaron. 3 that come to mind, other than The Man Apart, The Ring, which we had a stretch of seeing a bunch of horror movies together.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And that movie is incredible. I'd love to watch it again, maybe for this podcast, and see what that's about.
Yeah.
2, The Haunting, which we saw with Keenan, and we had to stop to get gas on the way home. And he did not want to be alone in the car. What have you done?
What is going on?
And what was the last one?
Harry Potter and the Death of
Orange
Alice.
County.
Yes.
So when we first moved to our apartment after college,
I remember that.
Lori, Aaron, and I were the only ones in the 6-person apartment. We had mattresses in the living room.
Well, I don't know why. I still
because
don't know
everyone
why.
was scared.
You all slept in the same room.
Yeah.
We didn't want to sleep in our own bedrooms.
And we only had one TV so far. And
it was just a sleepover every night.
Like a 10-inch screen. The VCR under the TV was bigger than the TV. And we had a VHS copy of Orange County, which I heart that movie, so fuck you guys.
So
I can't believe that Lori didn't make you watch An Officer and a Gentleman.
No, we had one other movie.
Big Daddy.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Where were Lori's movies?
That's a good movie.
Yeah. Lori let us kind of lead.
She did,
I believe. Okay. All right. It's fair.
No, yeah.
That is funny.
done,
Okay, you
dude.
haven't let Aaron answer the question.
No.
She did. She said
No, she did not. You answered the question.
no. She said A Man Apart.
Man Apart.
Yeah.
No, she was answering you, talking about your beliefs.
Katie is under the impression that you enjoyed a movie with her more than me. So can we get there and just like make her feel
can you
happy?
just tell us a movie you've seen with
No,
Katie.
I really didn't think Aaron
Please, just
answered.
tell
I
us a
thought
movie
that
you've
was
seen.
all you.
So we
Thank you.
can just end this, please. Just tell her a movie you watched with her. I don't even care if you really watched it because I don't think she remembers at this point. Just say a movie. Any movie.
Oh shit.
All right, question 5. There you go. Question 5. Deep thoughts question. Here we go.
Ever gone to a movie?
Which oh my god. I'm gonna take
Sweating again?
I'm gonna take a few weeks off from the show. Next week,
This will hence
next
be
week,
known
David
as
Charvet will be filling in for me on the podcast. We're gonna have David Charvet hosting the show next week with Katie. Jim and I are gonna rebrand ourselves with the new name.
there are 4 people on this podcast, all of them trying to watch this on the internet, and we only have 2 viewers. So
Oh God, it's because my phone died.
Oh, that's all right.
It's fine.
Finally, our
It's
deep
fine.
thoughts
I was
question.
going to say dodgeball.
you have to be able to recall the moment you watch the fucking movie.
I don't.
I know.
Don't.
I was gonna say dodgeball.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, just say me too, dude. Me too.
Same. Yeah, that's it. That was it. You got it.
Eat, Pray, Love? Did we watch Eat, Pray, Love together?
Yeah.
No, you can't even remember that.
No, we did. We did because we were in North Carolina. We were in North Carolina when it came out, and so we went to the movie theater together to watch it.
Okay.
True story.
We did.
Great.
But I feel
Yeah, that took us 5 minutes to figure out.
like the hours
It
or
was
something.
clearly
but they're all, like,
impressive.
just very,
It was a
very
memorable
emotional,
moment. It was
serious.
very memorable. It was very it
Ground shaking.
sometimes at night when I think about the movies I'd like to see again, I think of that moment.
When we watched Dodgeball together.
Yeah. You have a
Oh, my belly hurts.
Oh God.
Brian, please ask this last question.
What's question number 5?
I don't care. I don't care what the question is.
I just want you guys to see. This is how Fiona feels about.
Fiona is nervous about you laughing like this.
I'm just
kid.
sorry, Fiona. I'm sorry. Aunt Katie's
I'm
okay.
surprised Scout is not
Aunt
losing
Katie's
her mind.
okay. I gave Scout a beef.
Gives
kneecap.
that Benadryl.
All right, here we go. Our deep thoughts question.
No.
This was a 3-answer potential here for you, but I'm pretty sure it's down to 2 after this episode. Aaron, which comm major would you want to go to any event with?
A dog show. Come on.
A dog show. Who would you want to go to a dog show with of the hosts on this show?
Oh man, honestly,
Please say Katie. Please just say it.
no, my
So we can
first.
end this.
It's
my
a
first-
fucking
my
downward
first-
spiral if you don't say
First
it.
choice was
Please
Katie.
say it. For
Thank
Jim's
God.
sake.
Thank
Katie,
God.
because we do love to people watch together.
Thank God.
But
Jim, you would be a nightmare at a dog show. Are you kidding?
No, for you,
would-
for
you-
Aaron, I would not be a
No,
nightmare.
you would look with such disdain on everyone.
What do you not understand about Aaron and my relationship that does not tell you that that's exactly what she'd be looking for in that moment?
Nope. She'd want to find the joy. She would want to find the joy.
Oh, we find joy.
Tiny little, very groomed doggies.
All right,
Much joy.
Brian, put a bow on this fucking thing.
Please do not review our show after listening
This
to tonight's
is the
episode.
equivalent in the Mayflower dog show of walking out and just taking a shit on the AstroTurf.
We have been holding 2020 at bay on this program for a while.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
hitting
so
a
sorry. Maybe this is
Oh,
why I
this
have
doesn't have-
to come
this
No,
on
we knew this
after
would
this
happen.
episode.
We knew this would happen.
This
doesn't have anything to do with you.
This
No.
was inevitable. Oh my God. I just got death stare.
from Brian.
No, not from Brian, from my husband.
Brian just said
Friends,
it's not you.
If I don't show up again tomorrow.
No death stare from me.
We'll be back next week with an episode that is inspired by the 2020 election. So you can only imagine where that one's going to go.
10 days until the election,
What,
the
make
drinking
sure
is
you-
going to steadily increase.
Yeah, that's do not review the show again based off of tonight's episode.
Nope.
That we don't want
Sit
that.
this one out, guys.
We will be back next week though with a film.
Probably skip that one too, and then come back
Yeah.
and then listen to that, and then review us for that. And
We
then
can come back when we have a vaccine.
Yeah, maybe
Aaron.
like 2021.
time out. I will say this, Aaron. These two are big giant wimps when it comes to watching anything even remotely creepy. So you have to come on for our next like horror movie.
That's true.
I would love to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've just ignored
I get like
that this
one
is
or
Halloween
I get
time. We've
one a
ignored it.
year.
Are
We're-
allowed
we
to
are
pick
not
a
watching
movie every month.
Anything scary. There are no scary movies
Although
happening.
we did watch Midsummer, and that
Yes,
was
that counts.
Brian did love that, and
That
you
counts.
loved that as well.
Yep.
So-
Yep.
I have
And we're
not
done.
disliked a horror movie that was picked yet. You picked The Shining. We like The Shining. You picked Midsummer. We liked Midsummer.
Okay.
It seems to be the narrative in your mind is you can't pick the movies, yet you get to pick a movie a month, and you're not picking anything
Story.
that's scary.
We also
You know what's
watched
funny?
it, Brian.
The story I'm
watched
telling
it?
myself is that I hate you.
Nothing's changed after
Renee
20
Brown
years,
taught me
so
that.
it should-
Yeah. Katie's the one that ruined this episode. You've just destroyed a 20-year-old friendship. So put a bow on that.
Please.
Put a bow on it.
Guys, this has been a blast. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And our best in show expert gives it 5 stars. So
you should have
there's
bailed out when that Wi-Fi came. Oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear what's going on.
Oh, you're breaking up.
You're breaking
The
up.
5G is killing it, though.
You should have just sat there like frozen, and we've been like, oh, she's frozen. Then Fiona would jog by, and we're like, fuck, she's pretending to be frozen because she doesn't want to be part of the show.
Oh my God. I didn't even notice your t-shirt. Our guest, Aaron Powers, has a dog-themed t-shirt. It says, Dog Mom, life is rough.
Dog Mom, life is rough.
That was it. Was a birthday present
From Bun?
So, no, this is actually from, I don't know if she'd be watching, Sandy Comfort. It was
Way to go, Sandy.
My 40th birthday. She is now a dog.
Don't worry,
mom,
nobody's
too.
watching.
That's
So-
fantastic.
Nobody's watching. You don't have to worry about that.
Let's say goodbye, and then we can, if we want to
Yeah,
keep
so
chatting
All
about
right, we'll
shirts,
say
we can
goodbye.
do
We'll
that.
say goodbye to the commenters. I have to take a moment.
All right.
Okay.
Goodbye, everybody.
Maybe we'll be back.